Hey guys, this is Chesney Hawks here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Hi everybody, Russ from the West Ham Network. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new around here, why don't you consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon, becoming a member, and making sure we get all the good content we have coming up. Loads of good content, even during the international breaks. We try and bring you as much as possible so you don't get bored. A bit boring the international breaks, isn't it? Particularly for a West Ham fan at the moment. But hopefully, although I think isn't Souček playing today and various others. So hopefully we go unscathed. Anyway, it's my great pleasure to introduce you to another ex-Hammer. We've had must be approaching 90 ex-players, and today it's one I'm really looking forward to talking to. We had Rob Hall last week, who was sort of very much at the beginning of his career when he joined West Ham, and this one's, you know, Brian was towards the end of his career when he joined us, and only for a short amount of time. But I think it was a really interesting time for West Ham because it was, you know, sort of a lot of flux in terms of West Ham. So we'll be really looking forward to talking to him. Maybe bring it in. There he is. See if he's waking up. There he is. There he is. Brian, up. Brian Deane. How are we doing, Dino?
Yeah, I'm listening.
How are we doing, big man?
I'm all right, man. What's happening?
Not much at the moment. Internationals breaks a bit boring, isn't it? I get a bit bored.
It is. Listen, I'm going to pull you up now because this is really annoying. But I'm just looking at how you've spelt my name.
Yeah.
Mr. E off Deane at the end. And I'm going to shame you because it's one annoying thing. I don't know if you can see it or...
I haven't. Look. Brian Deane.
All right. No, you haven't. No, it's in the chat room.
Okay. All right. No worries. No problems.
Sorry, I had to say that. But
how are we,
Forgive
Mr.
me.
No, you're no need to be forgiven, my friend. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. I'm good. It's you know, we're getting to that time of year now where, you know, the weather starts changing and 7 o'clock it's dark and
it's bad, isn't it?
It's great if you're a footballer because you know that it's, you know, you're proper in the work season now, but yeah, for everybody else now, including myself now, who's just a civilian, it's crap because all you're doing is looking back and thinking about how good the summer was.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? But I suppose those, as you said, for footballer, those sort of dark nights where you're just it's all crisp mornings and stuff like that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's you know, it's one of the things that you miss about football. You think, right, okay, well, it's into the proper season now because, you know, it's dark. The ground is a lot more forgiving when you're training. You know, and the ball skids a little bit faster off the surface and so on. So yeah.
You know? And also this time, I mean, obviously, we're in the international break at the moment, and you know, obviously, you had a couple of caps for England early on in your career. But what happens for the guys who aren't picked for their international? What do you guys do when there's like an international break? I'm always intrigued.
You just carry on training.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if you're at a club where they have a lot of internationals, then obviously, you know, training's kind of a little bit restricted. But no, you carry on training. You don't get any extra time off or anything like that. I mean, that'd be totally unprofessional. But yeah, I mean, you work on different parts of the game. You know, perhaps it's not as intense, you know, because you'll be doing things like you might be playing more 8-a-side games or more 5-a-side games, stuff like that. But you don't, you know, it just carries on really, and then you kind of get to a point where you're looking forward to seeing the guys who have been away come back as well.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, and also, I mean, you played for obviously a lot of clubs in your career. When it comes to seeing the results on a Saturday or a Sunday, do you always keep an eye out for all of them, or just is there a few you always look out for? It always intrigues me for lots of players in terms of after the game.
Yeah, so I always look out for all the clubs I play for.
Sure.
You know, I'm very much kind of, I like to keep that. That's the one thing, you know, if like, you know, I always like to see like West Ham are doing well.
Yeah.
You know, Middlesbrough, I had a short loan spell at Sunderland. All of the clubs, I like to see that they're doing well. I like to think that I can't think of a club where I didn't really connect with the fans. Don't get me wrong, I had to win some of them over for different reasons, but I always felt that the fans were pretty fair with me, and I'd be the first person to hold my hands up if I didn't. If I didn't give 100% or whatever, I'd be the first person to say it didn't quite work out there. I think the only place where that happened was when I went to Australia, but that was a shambles anyway.
Fair enough. I
wait till I get to 37 years of age, and then I've gone over there, and I find myself having to wash my own kit.
Back at the beginning,
not a good move. No, I could have done that here.
Exactly. Yeah, but it's like being back on the YTS and the apprentices, isn't it? With that, so having to wash your own kit again. Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And obviously, you said West Ham. It's nice to see you. Obviously, it's a West Ham channel. We're doing all right, and it must, and it was the boys are doing all right. Davy Moyes has got a tune out of them at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, they're playing some really good football. I think it's taken a little bit of time for everybody to settle, especially into the new stadium. I mean, people don't realise that. When you have a stadium like that, and all of a sudden you've got more supporters in there, it's going to take some of the players a little bit of time, as well as obviously, your recruitment's got to be one where you're recruiting players who can light up a stage like that.
Sure.
It's good to see them playing some really good football. I think the catalyst for me, if I look back, was Jesse Lingard coming, because it just kind of coincided with that free-flowing football last year. They had Antonio, who's done fantastically well. But I think that was, they've got a little bit of everything, West Ham. They've got some tough-looking defenders at the back. They've got a little bit of steel in the midfield. And then they've got, in that final third, they've got a lot of people who can run. If you haven't got players who are quick, who can get behind defenders, you're not going anywhere. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
I listen to all these debates all the time about, who should come in here, there. Listen, if your forwards can't run and they can't get on the back end of defenders, you're not going to be doing anything, because all that's going to be happening is teams are going to be playing a high line against you, condensing the pitch, and it's then down to a case of, well, you make a mistake and they're already in your half, so they'll focus on winning the ball back. But the moment you've got players who can stretch the game out, Jared Bowen's another one. He's a great player, by the way. As soon as you've got players who can do those things, you then pose a threat the other way, and teams have got to be careful about how many players they commit.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. I totally agree. It's one of those things. I think, as you said, it's nice to see, and as you said, there's a real, I think at times West Ham there hasn't been, I think maybe even before COVID, I think COVID's been a situation which has sort of almost reset West Ham and sort of reconnected themselves. But I think it's reconnected a lot of fans with their clubs, because they almost treated it a little bit like a bit of a chore, going to the games on a Saturday or going to, but now there seems to be a real connection between particularly the West Ham players, and I mean, we've got a squad that people are happy to see and happy to go, and they're gagging to go and watch the games, because they haven't had football live. They've been having to watch it on the telly the last 15 months. So it's good to see. It's good to see, man. There's a real buzz around the team. It's a lovely time to see, and obviously Europa League and stuff like that. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it.
Could be the curse, that though.
Could be, but we want to be. Yes, we want to be in it. You want to be in Europe, so it's like, you got to take. That's what Moyes said the other day. He says I can't take. Obviously, the last two Sundays after we've played in the Europa, we've lost, and he says, well, that's what we want. We want more Thursday, Sunday. So Paul Merson says only crap teams play on a Saturday at 3:00, and that's pretty true.
One way of putting it.
It's fair enough, isn't it? I know what you mean. Yeah. Obviously, for many people, I remember Brian obviously playing at West Ham, a relatively short period, but it was, you played a lot of games, really. I think he signed. We'll go back to the beginning. I think you signed in November 2003 from Leicester. How did that all start? How did that process? How did you become a West Ham player? If you can remember, Brian, it's a few years ago.
It was pretty simple. I found myself sort of like on the periphery of the the team. We got promoted. I'd scored a lot of goals actually to get us promoted, help get us promoted, and the next season I found myself on the bench. And I'm a very proud person. I think most people are by the time they get to that age. You want to play as much as you can, and there was a couple of clubs that came in for me, and I think it was a case of I just got told, that West Ham were interested, and I was a bit like, well, you never played in London. I'd played some games down at Upton Park and ripped it up as well. And I thought, so I thought, well, I'll see what Alan Pardew's got to say. And I found him quite a charismatic guy,
Yeah.
And he came with the chief exec at the time. I can't remember who it was. Was it Paul Aldridge? Maybe
it would have been Paul Aldridge. Yeah, would have been Paul Aldridge.
And I had a good conversation with him, and he sold the club to me. And it was. Yeah, I was like, okay, well, let's see what's happening. I knew I was comfortable in the league, because there's a big difference between Premier League and Championship.
Sure.
And I think that at the age that I was, it was a little bit more palatable to accept going and playing in the Championship. So I it all happened very quickly. I got an apartment sorted out pretty quickly in Canary Wharf, and it went from there. But he told me about the players that they had. Jermaine was obviously there. Jermaine Defoe, Michael Carrick, Thomas Repka, who I'd had a few battles with, and all the rest of it. There was some characters, and I felt that this is a team that is going to have a chance of going straight back up.
Yeah,
and I also was quite strategic in the thought that, well, okay, I don't think I'm going to play every game, but I think I'm going to be quite influential.
Yeah.
So it was an easy choice for me, and it was an opportunity. Having said that, I didn't come to be on the bench. That was a big no for me, and that was a non-negotiable when I met Alan. I was like, I'm coming here to play. I'm not coming here to toss it off.
Yeah. And I mean, but and as I said, obviously when you came, it was. I think it made. I think obviously it was that until the end of May. Obviously we didn't quite go up the first time. We went up the second time next season afterwards, unfortunately. But I think you made 32 appearances all in that sort of 6 months period, which ain't bad, and scoring 7 goals, including a brace, your home debut against West Brom, who were top of the league at the time. And as you said, it was, you started and there were a lot of sub appearances. So, obviously, I know you said you wanted to go be a starter, and obviously there were a lot of bench appearances off the bench as a sub. What was the conversation with Alan about that?
But that's the point. When I started, I was a 1 and 2. Yeah. And a lot of the time when I came off the bench, I mean, there's a few stories I can tell if you want, but it really irked me.
Sure.
Because I came there, and all the time that I was playing, I was scoring.
Yeah.
And so that was quite difficult to take. And there was an incident. There was a game where we played Bradford City away, and look, I'm not an idiot. And there was a couple of things that happened. First of all, it wasn't Alan Padgett, it was Ian Grant, who's, they said, look, if you don't want to train, we can, you can have a couple of days off a week if you want, or you can. I thought, hang on.
Yeah.
Don't like the sound of that.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Being managed here. So I was like, no, I want to train like everybody else. And that was the first thing. And then we played Bradford City, and the tactics for that day were like, because what had happened was we'd signed Bobby, and what had happened was we changed how we were playing, and it was we started playing, we started launching it, and West Ham never launched the ball, and it was, I just felt that. I came off at half time, and I remember thinking that didn't feel right tactically. I think we played away. Now, as soon as if you're playing long ball and you're not picking up the second balls and all the rest of it, and the game isn't one way you're controlling the game, you have to change it.
Yeah.
And I felt that I was the common denominator when we hadn't been. That we'd never played like that. We went to MK Dons. I scored there. I scored away at West Brom. We were playing good, slick football. Marlon Airwood. We were playing a good brand of football. But look, I mean, I've managed as well, so I have to turn around and say that when you've got all the players in your squad, you have to manage them a certain way. I just felt that the approach was wrong for me. And that felt like that was a trust issue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you get on with it, and I remember one of the things that happened, which was really good. It was a real lesson for me. Because I used to get really upset when I was on the bench, and I remember we played against Sunderland at home.
Yeah.
And we were 2-0 down, and Alan Pardew brought me on at half time, and I was so angry that I just wanted to kill everybody. And we ended up winning the game 3-2, and after the game, I had a lump in my throat. I was really upset.
Yeah.
And Alan Pardew, he to be fair to him, he said, "Listen, I know that this guy was really upset. He wanted to play, feels as though he should be playing, and I left him out, and it was a big, it takes a big man and a professional man to do what he did, coming on and helping us change the game how we did." And he said, "I want you all to give him a round of applause," and the lads clapped me, and at that point, I felt like crying, but just out of frustration and out of emotion.
Yeah.
And like all the lads had come up and said, "Brian, brilliant," and it kind of, it was a lesson that in good management, I think, from Alan Pardew, because he could have lost me then.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he gave me my credit where it was due, and it also bought him time, so he then saw me as an impact player. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So every time, if you remember, if we fast forward to the cup final now, as soon as Crystal Palace scored, I'd gone into the changing rooms to go to the toilet, and I hear these, I hear a roar, and then I hear these studs coming up into the changing rooms, and it was Nigel Rio-Cook, and he says, Deansy, Gaffer wants you. And I thought, fuck, here we go again. You know what I mean? So I knew I was coming on, and he was expecting me to come on and change the game. And what Crystal Palace had done is they prepared for that.
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean? They sort of like saw what was happening, that I was, so it kind of neutralized my impact.
Yeah.
Because they'd sort of like said, right, if he comes on, Powell, you're going to do that, and we're going to put people around him, and we'll just smother him, and so on, and yeah, that was quite a bitter pill, but at the same time, and I know that Alan Pardew's got a lot of stick off people, but I actually really enjoyed the way how he managed the team. I like he had a career. I mean, we used to call him Chocolate.
Yeah, we know that.
Everybody knows that, you know what I mean? But he had a certain type of charisma about him that it was almost like the dude from The Office, you know what I mean? But at the same time, it worked, you know what I mean? Because he the thing about him was training was great. You know, he was a great coach. I thought he was a great coach, and he engaged everybody. You know, everybody. The squad were happy generally, although there were a few little nick bits. You know what I mean? But you know, I think that, you know, as I went into management, I kind of understood what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I know what you mean. You sort of retrospectively know, you know, well, that makes sense. Yeah. But I mean, I mean, as I said, I think as I've spoken, when people have spoken about Pards, obviously, I mean, I've been working at the club this is my 21st season at the club at West Ham, and Pards is the only manager who wanted to know what music we were playing pre-match. Literally, we'd go into that little, you know, that little crappy manager's office, that little like shoe cupboard, but no, broom cupboard, and go, right, Russ, what are we playing today? And I was like, I don't know, but he was like, he'd always want something different. I'd never pick, say, the songs that he wanted to play, because it was always like Frank Sinatra or whatever. But he was the only, because he wanted to make sure everything was.
The thing with him was he was wanting to create the environment.
Yes.
He wanted to, you know, even the small things, attention to detail, you know, the 2-touch tennis at Chadwell Heath, you know, the way how we looked at the strength conditioning, all of that was. Look, he didn't get on with everybody, even some members of his staff, but you know, he was a young guy who was trying to find his way at a club, which could have swallowed him
easily. Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
So I take my hat off to him for, you know, being that way and kind of, because I'm sure that a lot of it would have been bravado. It wouldn't have been how he actually felt inside. But he probably had to manage himself before he went into training.
Yeah.
You know, and so having been in management myself, I understand that is something that you have to do sometimes. Otherwise, you're not allowing yourself to be able to be ready to deal with different situations.
Yeah. No, totally.
You know, and just while I'm on it, just a last one. Alan Pardew is the only manager who actually turned around to me and recognised that I had leadership qualities, and he was the one who encouraged me to go into management.
Oh wow!
None of the others, you know, none of them, you know, and for whatever reason that is. So I have to take my hat off to him. You know, I mean, it's funny because at the time, what had happened was he was saying that he wasn't giving me a new contract, so I was pissed with him.
Yeah.
But he also said, listen, I know, but he also said to me, listen, Brian, I think you've got some really good characters, some characteristics. I've seen how you are with the players in the changing rooms. And I think you should really consider, you know, a career in management.
Yeah.
And at the time I was like, you're just telling me that. But it was only when I kind of reflected that I realized that it was actually being truthful. He'd seen something, and he stuck his head on the line by saying that, because, you know, I've played for a lot of managers, a lot of very good managers. Yeah. But he took me seriously. He understood, you know, and there's a lot to be said. I think he's quite an innovative guy. But I'll always remember that, because without, you know, it was a small spark when you think about who I've played for.
Yeah.
It was a small spark, and I was a manager in a top league for 2 years, and I had the belief, you know, I got to a cup semi-final. I finished 8th in my second season after having the smallest budget in the league 2 years, you know, so I have him to thank for that.
Yeah.
So all jokes aside, you know, it just shows you that if somebody is willing to kind of give you that, you know, talk freely and honestly, what kind of fires it can ignite in your hearts, you know.
Of course. And I mean, there's something. It's quite obviously part. You know, there's something inherently West Ham about that as well, in terms of putting the more experienced players going into management, because we back in the day, John Lyle and Ron Greenwood and John Lyle, and John would get players, and I remember interviewing Stuart Slater once, and he had Ray Stewart turn up to all his Sunday league games when he was 13, scouting and things. So that is that sort of boot room type mentality. So it's really interesting how he sort of. It was a bit of a shit sandwich he gave you. They call it, isn't it, a shit sandwich?
It's bollocks.
But you should get into.
It's look, I learned a lot about myself. I mean, I remember I was having at the time I was, and look, I've never been a boastful guy. I'm quite a quiet guy, but I'd had a bit of a shit deal at Leicester.
Yeah.
In terms of the way how that ended. When I was at Middlesbrough, Steve McLaren came in, and that's another story. I don't know if I could actually repeat what my thoughts are. And then to come down to West Ham and the same thing happened, but just dressed up in a different suit.
Yeah.
It's getting hard to take now, you know what I mean?
I get you.
And, I thought that things like material wealth and all the rest of it would kind of be a comfort blanket. But, I remember I had a car delivered. I'd ordered a car and I had it delivered at the training ground. And I thought that this would make me feel better about myself. And what it actually has told me is that it's made me realize that material things are not, well, it's not really what, it made me feel empty afterwards. Yeah. But I did that to make myself feel better in front of the squad.
Yeah.
And I've realized that, as you get older, you realize what is actually important in life. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter what car you drive or whatever. It's about what makes you happy.
Yeah.
So
true.
So and that's what, as you get older, you realize, happiness is about, the biggest thing that people can take from you is time. Time is the most important thing, and how you spend your time and what you achieve during the time that you have is very important. Sometimes people, they put the bar too high, and that creates different problems.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I'd achieved a lot, I suppose. I'd kind of, for somebody who didn't really believe in himself, I'd actually, some of the times, some of the things that I was doing it actually felt like an out-of-body experience.
Sure.
Because, I'd be celebrating a hat-trick in front of the Kop, or scoring at Anfield or Manchester United, and thinking, is this me?
Yeah. I get that. I understand. Yeah.
And so, when I'm coming to the end of my career now, and I'm realizing that it's all disappearing, I'm getting desperate. I want to play every minute,
of course,
every game. You know what I mean? And I was desperate. That's, for the first time, I was actually, I was irate. I was angry. I was, not since when I was at Leeds and I'd gone to Leeds and I found myself on the bench, and I was coming onto the I was coming out as a sub. I think we had 2 subs in them days, and I was, and that's when it hit me that I wasn't starting.
Yeah.
And then this was happening on a regular basis at West Ham, and it kind of coincided with, sort of like that time of my life when people start to look at it and think, well, he's getting old now. And I was like, no, this isn't me. This isn't me.
Yeah.
I can do a job. And it was very upsetting, and just being out there, it was, you wanted, that's what I wanted, so
perfect sense.
The team we had was honestly Kevin Orlock is one of the funniest people.
He had a few characters for sure, man. Yeah. A few characters in there for sure.
There was him. There was Nigel and Anton used to take the piss out of each other all the time.
Yeah.
And it was just a great changing room. And, I felt like I mentored some of those lads as well. Wayne Quinn was there, who I knew Quinny, I knew Hutch from Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Thomas Repka, I had a few battles with Thomas, and then when we became teammates, we became really respectful. I love that guy. You know what I mean? He's
Top
like,
man.
if you're going into war, he's the kind of guy that you want him with you.
You're right, man.
You know what I mean? He lays life down for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, too right, man.
So you know, it was great. You know, coming down to London from, you know, look, for me, London is overrated.
Yeah.
Because it's very busy and
yeah, very true.
You know, it's great to come and visit, but look, I had a great time. I had a flat down in Canary Wharf. You know, the traffic used to go the opposite way on the morning, so I was happy. But no, I loved my time down there because it was almost like the last time that I got to kind of. There was a lot of pace around me as well, like Jermaine and Marlon.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, there was Michael Carrick in midfield and all the rest of it. And it was a real, you know, it's like, it was so smooth and silky what we did, you know, what we were trying to achieve, actually.
Considering also in a championship, you know, in the championship, you still had these, as you said, sort of Premier League quality players around you as well. It must have been, it was a strange one. Let's get a few questions, then we'll do you 11 because I'm conscious of time for you as well.
Okay.
Right, okay, Reese, favorite current West Ham player?
Antonio.
Right, speaking of Antonio, are you a fan of one up top or do you favour two up top?
I think the way how the game's played now, if you've got somebody who can play one up top, and that's how I see Antonio, you see, because teams like to get control of the game in midfield. So if you're playing with a 4-3-3, then it means that you can, you know, or if you're playing three at the back, it's that midfield area that you need to control. So if you've got somebody who can run beyond defenders and cause two defenders a problem, then, you know, that's the way. If you've got two up front, then what you've got to remember is if you've got two up front, then, you know, are you know, what is it? Is it 4-4-2? Is it a 3-5-2? You know, it then because look, football's about maths. Believe it or not, it's about mathematics. It's you know, overlaps in wide areas. It's about overloads. It's about all of these things. You know, what players have you got in certain positions that are going to give you advantages in small areas? So having somebody like Mikel Antonio is great because not only has he got a good engine, he's going to nick you a goal. You know, you've got the boy Jared Bowen. For me, he's a fantastic player. I've already said. I've already talked about what the impact Jesse Lingard had last year.
Definitely.
You've got the boy Souček. You know, it's great to watch. You know, I don't think West Ham are one of those kind of teams who you look at and think, well, they got struggles this year.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, it's nice that we're looking up rather than looking down. To be honest, it's nice for a change, man. Nice for a change.
But just coming back to that. Sorry, just quickly.
It's all right.
Look, I mean, the way how the game's gone now, you usually have one up front because you want a midfield player breaking into that area, and he's harder to mark. So, you know, when I was managing, I played a 4-2-3-1, and I think that's, you know, that's such a flexible formation because you can change it very quickly to a 4-3-3 and so on. That I think nowadays it's very few teams that can afford to play two up front unless you've got exceptional players.
Good point. I mean, that's what we play 4-2-3-1. That's what West Ham do. So yeah. Speaking of management, you know, someone asked a question about, you ever going to take up another management role, Brian?
No. That's me.
He done now.
No, it's look. When I went out to Norway and I thought I did quite a good job. I thought I did my apprenticeship, and when I came back, you know, all I wanted the opportunity to do was to speak to people. You know, if you think about some of the clubs that I've played for, and some of the managers I've played for, I thought that I had a lot to offer, but I couldn't even get anybody to talk to, So I think at that point I just thought I've had enough. I'm not bitter about it, and I remember one time sort of like saying it'd be just nice to have a conversation, and people back you down. But you think about me. I played over 700 games and scored 230 odd goals, and I can't even have a conversation. I played abroad for Benfica.
Yeah.
I've managed in another country, and I can't have a conversation with anybody.
Crazy, isn't it? It's
so,
crazy.
But like I said, that's part of the past now. And in fairness, I didn't want to stress myself out. I live in Yorkshire, and I just didn't. You get to a point in your life where, have I got that energy?
I know exactly what you mean.
I would like to be in a situation where I can contribute, but I don't want to be. I don't want to be frontline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to be. I'd like to be behind the scenes, just kind of working on structures and talking about short, medium, long-term plans, because I've seen it now. I can reflect on where I've been, the journey, and the players I've seen come through. But I'm not asking anybody for a job. It's not about that. It's more about that would be nice, but it's probably not going to happen. And I can live with that. I've got 2 young kids, you see, so that's my priority.
God, yeah. Christ, yeah. You ain't got no time to do anything else, Brian, with 2 kids, man.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Are you a dad taxi type person? Are you a...
Unfortunately,
Yeah. My daughter's 9, and I'm still... she's, it's 9 going on 19, and I'm a dad taxi.
6 and 3.
God, dear. God.
53.
Bloody hell, man. Bloody hell. Good luck to your son. No wonder you look so young. No wonder you haven't had time to do your hair. No wonder you're wearing your cap.
I ain't got none.
Right, let's go. Let's do 11, because obviously I don't want to take you up too long, because you have to get some sleep, because the kids will be waking you up in a few hours' time. So basically, everyone we have on the channel, bar I think Harry Redknapp and a couple of others. Actually, Nigel Reo-Coker didn't do an 11 as well. But everyone we get on the channel, we ask them to do an 11, put together an 11 of the players that they played with during their time at West Ham. Now, I've only got a 4. I know you're a tactic, 4-2-3-1. I've only got a 4-4-2 graphic, so we'll have to stick with that. So and it's all a bit of fun, really. So who would be in goal for the Brian Deane 11 for West Ham? Who's in goal for you?
Well, it was Steve. I probably only played with 11 players.
Well, there's 2, isn't it? There's Stephen and J-Mo at the beginning, weren't it? You played with J-Mo at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about J-Mo, actually.
See?
It's a difficult one, because, J-Mo was a great goalie, but I can't remember that much about him. I kind of remember Stephen Bywater a little bit more, even though he was an understudy and then started playing.
Yeah.
I go with Stephen on this
occasion. Stephen.
Obviously, look, J-Mo's a legend. If you're watching this, J-Mo, look, it's nothing personal.
Well, I'll tell you a story about David James, right? When we had him on the channel, he did his 11. He walked off. Next day, he phoned me up and he went, I forgot to put Paolo Di Canio in my 11. Completely forgot
I forgot to put him in.
Well, there we go. But Steve's a lovely man, lovely kid. He's mad as he's mad as a bag of.
He's so thick.
Yeah, he is. But I love him. He's so sweet, though. Right, we'll put Stephen Bowl. Okay, let's go. Okay, we're going 4-4-2. So let's go left back. Let's go left back then.
God. Okay. So who was it? So Wayne Quinn was here.
You had Wayne Quinn. You probably played with John Harley. Probably played John Harley. Might have played with John Harley.
No, John was. Did John come on loan?
He came on loan, I think. Yeah, you might have played a game or two for him. Yeah.
Yeah. And there was Kevin Orlock as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, you could play Kevin left back.
But Kev used to go to Christian Deane. He used to say, "Listen, if you win the toss, make sure you're kicking so that I'm not at the chicken run." And he used to shit himself. Them fans were vicious in that corner, by the way. You know what I mean?
They because obviously you'd have been as an opposition, but then as a as one of their own as well.
Man, so funny. I remember when I played down there one time, and I'm not gonna. I was playing. I was playing with another player, and I remember because I used to get all the clips, and I clipped them. And I remember this game, and one of them was down in that corner, and it was going. It wasn't me, even though I've got quite a big nose. It was another player who was on the going, big nose, big nose. Horrible people.
Oh dear.
Funny though, funny.
They are funny boys, and as I said, when they take you, don't they?
Yeah. Well, yeah. No. To be fair, that's the one thing. When you're a player, if the fans respect you, then you've done half a decent job. And like I said, I scored some goals early, and that kind of helped me because that's the one thing as a forward you want to get off.
Yeah.
Especially that you want to get off the mat pretty quickly,
Yeah, no, I totally agree, man. Right, so who are we going to put left back? Should we put Kevin left back?
No, I'm going to put Quinny in, actually.
Put Quinny in.
Let's put Quinny in.
I've got Quinny. There he is. There he is. Oh,
Quinny
Wayne Quinn.
Very good technically. Very good player and a great guy as well.
Yes.
Helped me out when I came down there. Really looked after me. I'm going to have Quinny.
Nice. Good old Wayne Quinn. All right, we'll put him at left back. Let's go right back then. Who should we have on right back?
Jeez.
So
help me out.
right back. Thomas played right back.
Yeah, Thomas played right back and centre back, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's a bit of a maverick, that dude. You know what I mean? You could be. It was like Joe 90. You know what I mean? It could all be over in 90 seconds with him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll go with. Go on then. I'll go with Thomas.
Yeah.
I'll go with Thomas.
A man who scares me, even when he texts me, when he
he's a good-looking dude, isn't he?
Yeah, he's tough, a tough man, Thomas Repka. And as you said, but we like West Ham fans like players who are just that on that edge, and you don't know what way.
He's a good guy.
He's a good guy. Yeah, he's very sweet. I've heard some funny stories about Thomas, so we'll put him in. Right, centre halves then. First centre half. Right.
Who did I have? I had Christian Daly.
Yeah.
Who else was there?
You'd have played with Andy Melville for a bit.
Andy Melville was there. Yeah.
I'm trying to think who else. Wasn't that many? I don't think you played that many centre backs.
I think that's my back four. That's what I'm saying. That's my back four, isn't it?
Yeah. That's probably most of it. Andy Melville.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. And you talk about this team. This team was a championship team, but you've got some absolutely stalwart players, and obviously Christian Daly. I always remember that speech after the Leicester City, after the Ipswich game at Upton Park, the second playoff, and he got the mic, and it was almost like Braveheart. He was like, "We're going to go to Cardiff and we're going to win." And Pards is like, "Get your suits ready, get your limos." I remember that one. Right, back four. That is a tough back four, I tell you. Right, midfield. Let's go left wing. Who should have on the left wing?
So Joby McAnuff was because
You had McAnuff. You had Matty Effrington.
Matty, of course, only one guy. That guy was decent. Yeah.
He was good. Yeah,
very good player.
Big fan of Matty. Top man. He's a lovely guy as well.
Yeah.
Matty he was at Spurs, and he came to us, and he did a really good job for us, and he's a lovely fella. Right. Absolutely. And again, like sort of, for like a forward, for like yourself, getting someone who could just get to the byline and whipping across.
Yeah, he could dribble past the player, but he could also put a great cross in. Yeah, he had a good shot as well. So definitely have Matty.
It's a lost art now, isn't it?
Everything's slow across the pitch. Everybody wants to be everybody wants to be a poor man's Man City now.
Yeah, inverted wingers and not a fan. Right, we'll put Matty on left wing, right wing then. Okay, so we could put Joby McAnuff. Who else could we put in? Who else should you play? You would have played with young Richie Garcia as well. He's now manager at Perth as well.
Is that where he's the manager now?
Yeah. He's at Perth. Who have just signed.
Just signed somebody,
Sturridge.
haven't they?
Daniel Sturridge.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, we had him on. He's a lovely guy, Richie. Who else you could play? Marlon could play right wing.
Yeah, Marlon played up front with me.
Yeah.
Am I in this team or not?
You can put yourself in. Of course you can, bro.
No,
Get those appearances up.
I'm not putting myself in. Even though I did score some decent goals down
Some
there.
decent goals. But yeah. Who are we going to put? We could put,
Yeah,
Joe
so
Wing.
I'm going to put in... I'm going to... right wing.
Right wing. I'm trying to think you would have played right wing. So I'm just having a look at people you played with. No, he was up front. Hutch was midfield, really. Central midfield, wasn't he? Well, Hutch. Yeah. Not many wingers, yeah. Not many right wingers, really. Not many right wingers, really. I'm sure someone in the chat will say someone great. Oh, we forgot Anton Ferdinand. Oh. Sorry, Anton.
I bet he's watching, isn't he?
He probably is. Just waiting for his name to appear. They're like, what? You forgot me.
He's a funny guy as well.
I love Anton.
You know that anyway.
Such a
He's
lovely
still
guy.
He's still doing them funny voices.
Yeah. What was it? What does Bobby used to call it? Marlon, was it 3 week? 3 week they used to call him, because whatever Rio did 3 weeks later, he would do. So if Rio changed his hair 3 weeks later, Anton would do it.
They used to call him. I think Nigel used to call him Frio.
Frio, that's it. Frio. Right. So should we put should we put Joey McAnuff right wing?
Yeah, I'll put Joby there.
Yeah. Again, a guy I think we never saw what he could do. No. He was a fantastic player, I thought.
Yeah.
Really skillful, really exciting. He would have been a real good West Ham player if he had enough games for us, to be honest. Right. Central midfield. Oof.
Michael Carrick.
Mickey Carrick straight away. Mickey Carrick. What a fantastic player.
I'll say Dom, because we had a really good relationship, me and Don.
Yeah.
You know, Don was Don could see a pass. He was good at getting in the box. He could score a goal. Very intelligent player, you know. I mean, he wasn't the quickest, but I think he had a very good appreciation of where he was on the pitch. He was a natural footballer.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and it would, you know, in this team, him and Carrick complement each other. You know, that's nice. That's nice. I like that. Right. Okay. So that's it. Up front now. Who are we going to have? Some good strikers you played with.
I'm going to go with Jermaine and Marlon, because I mean Marlon was, you know, he was exceptional. There were times where he'd switch off.
Yes.
Badly. But you know, for like, he was unplayable for like 20 minutes in a game, and then that would be it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
He, you know, it was. I mean, some of the things he did were just totally unpredictable, but totally brilliant.
Yeah. There's a little bit about sort of Antonio, because he's very unpredictable as a player, and I think there's a
it's very similar, aren't they?
Yeah. Never really thought about that, and obviously,
Jermaine was just, honestly, I trained with him, and you know what? I mean, he was ridiculous in one-on-ones. Just I've never seen anybody as good 1v1 as him.
Wow.
He was, and I played with some good players, but
there
was that one thing that he was very good at, and that was, you know, if he was a defender, him and the defender 1v1, he'd get his shot off. You know, didn't care who it was, and he'd usually score. You know, so I have to have Jermaine. We had a good little partnership while we were together as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be my team.
Yeah, and that ain't bad considering you did it off the cuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's that managerial. You never lose it. Brian. That's it, man.
Yeah. Some people would be surprised about Stephen Bywater, but I just felt Byers was, you know, I mean, JMO had done everything, and I just think that Stephen was hungrier at that point.
Totally. And to be honest, Jamie wasn't around for that long in your. I mean, he was
No.
a few months, but he was got it Christmas
Yeah.
time, I think. So he only played with him for about a month or so,
Yeah.
before he went off. And but yeah, no, it's a good, and that's why I love doing these 11s, because it's a throwback to some players, like, you know, someone like Stephen Bywater. You know, he's part of, you know, obviously then he was our number one, and then the following year Jimmy Walker came in, and him and Jimmy were together, and you know, and
Mhm.
you know, and he came on the last 5 minutes in the Preston, the playoff finals, when Jimmy got injured and stuff, and so he'll always have a part of West Ham in him, and he's a lovely guy. He's a crazy as you said, thick as poo, but yeah, he's a lovely guy. I love him, Brian. Man, look, it's been an absolute pleasure. You mentioned, you you thought, you had a good time. You did a good job at West Ham. Some of the comments we've had on here have been wonderful comments about, about you as a servant to the club, and it's been really nice chatting to you, man. I said 45 minutes, a little bit over, but it's because everyone loves you. It's because everyone loves you.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure, and all the best for the season. Down there. Like I said, it was an absolute privilege putting the shirt on. Ticked a box for me.
Yeah, sure.
Learned a lot about myself down there. Absolutely loved being down there. Even the traffic jams were great. You know what I mean? At a time when Laurent Perrier Rosé was about £25 a bottle. So, and I used to live around the corner from the wine Majestic Wine Warehouse.
Oh, I know.
The one off Billingsgate. So I
know where it is. Yeah,
I used to stack up on it down there and take it home. But no, it was absolutely brilliant. And like I said, I said that, I don't know if it was on this one or the last Zoom I've just done. I was saying, time is the biggest thing that people can take from you, and it really is. You need to. If I look back, I wish I could have savored, my time a little bit more and appreciated what I had. I think everybody will do that anyway. It is what it is.
Cheers, man. No, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you, mate. I'm going to kick you out. So don't worry about leaving.
I'm here, man.
Cheers, man. Thank you so much for your time, man. Thank you, though. Cheers, man. There he is. Brian Deane. And what a team. What a team he put together. Look at that team. Not bad off the scratch. Stephen Byrell, Wayne Quinn, Andy Melville. Shot from the pass. Yeah, we didn't include Anton, but Christian Thomas Repka, Joby McIntyre. Nice to get Joby to get. He was a good player. We should have paid a lot more for West Ham. Michael Carrick, Don Hutchinson again. Yeah, no Hayden Mullins, Ria Coker, or even Kevin Horlock. Despite the fact we spoke about Kevin Horlock all the time. Matty Effington, you got Marlon, Jermaine Defoe. Not a bad 11 at all. Great 11. Some lovely memories, isn't it? It's great, and that's why I think someone put in here. That's why you guys need to make sure you subscribe to the channel, because we try and bring you some legends of the game, some guys who, as I said, Brian made 32 of first team appearances in a little over 5 months, 6 months, something like that. And we would have probably changed our life to do that once. And as you said, a real sort of veteran of the game. Yes, in the comments, he was the goal scorer of the first ever Premier League goal when he was at Sheffield United, scoring against Man United. Much to if you watch the BBC documentary, it's the first episode. It's very, very good. And they didn't interview him. I asked Brian about it before, and they didn't interview him. He's not bitter about it, but he said, which I thought was quite interesting. As I said, we'll be back here tomorrow at 12:30 for our lunchtime show, giving you guys some homework to do for Friday, putting together an 11. As I said, if anyone's new here, give it a like, give it a comment, give it a subscribe, give it a share. Stell's away, so if we can really hit that, I'm not one for likes. But if we can get a massive load of likes, someone said we've got something ridiculous like 200 odd likes already. Let's have a look what we are currently on. Let's have a look. 224 likes, which is mental. If we could hit 250 likes, that would be incredible. And Stel would be like on his sun lounger, drinking his margarita. No, he's not on his sun. Sorry, he's doing Squid Game. Sorry, and he'll be there lying on his bunk. How many likes? Be brilliant. Be brilliant. We hopefully will have another X-Hammer this week for a new series we're going to be running called Hammer It Out. Hopefully it'll be on Wednesday. And so, yes, hope everyone is great. There's no thumbs down, so Stella's away. Woo-hoo! Very, very good. Legend, totally agree. Brian the Iron, cheers. What a lovely guy Brian is. Fantastic. That's one of the easiest interviews I've ever done. Literally sat here and just listened to him. And I love those type of interviews, you know what I mean? And hopefully you guys enjoyed it too. That's just me. As I said, we try and bring you at least one ex-player interview every week. This week you got 2, you lucky devils. Hopefully, all being well. And next week we'll have something cool lined up as well. But Stell will be back. So obviously, there's no West Ham week. This is replacing the flagship show. So there we go. Oh yeah, Paul Mercer's he's got on BBC. I'm gonna watch it on iPlayer afterwards. Remember? Oh yes, we could have it. Yeah, I forgot. Sorry, Anton. On Thursday, you guys liked the last time we did the debate, the mass debate, and we did about Areola or Fabianski. We're going to be doing another debate show with myself and Anton. You can come on, have your say as well. We're going to be discussing the conundrum that is Souček and Rice. What's not clicking this season? It's just not clicking this season as it was, wasn't it? So we're going to be just discussing that, and you can come on and give us your opinions. What do you think? And that'll be hopefully Thursday evening. We'll be doing that. So we'll have I don't think anything tomorrow night. Wednesday we'll have another X Hammer with a new series. Thursday we'll have the mass debate about, or let's discuss, but we'll call it the debate. I'll change it. And then we start back again with Everton and the previews and the watch-alongs and then it all starts again. All the craziness. So hopefully you've had a rest. Sorry, Barry missed it. We have to go back and watch it again. Don't forget to like it as well. If we can hit 250 likes, that'll be absolutely radio rental, and I'll be so happy just to shut Stell up more than anything, because we do that. I said, and no unlikes as well. That's the best one. That's the best one. There's no unlikes. I think they just both look tired and want to be going forwards to score. Oh, about Declan Rice. Yeah. Off to watch Solano's 11. Indeed. Make sure if you're new to the whole My Hammers 11 thing, if you go back and go onto the playlist, there's an ex-player interview playlist. There's about 50 or 60 of Nobby Solano's on there. We've got David James on there. We've got Ian Bishop. We've got Harry Redknapp. We've got Marlon Harewood, Bobby Zamora. There's loads on there, and then we put more on. As I said, we've got about 90 so interviews going on that playlist eventually. Some will drip feed, some will put a block load into the playlist, so make sure you watch the playlist. Make sure you watch all of them like Kent does. So hope everyone has a great rest of the evening. For those of you who are in the UK, have a good evening. For those of you in America, have a nice afternoon and then a good evening. And from myself, Russ, take care, everyone. Stay safe, wash those hands, come on, you irons, and we'll see you again very, very soon. As always with these things, we'd like to thank all our lovely channel members, and so we always thank them at the end of my shows. So take care, everyone. Stay safe. Love you.
It's like a family tree, part of you.